Hey guys, welcome back. Learn for Two podcast. This is Brandon DeVere. Thank you, as always, for tuning in and sharing your time with me. I do appreciate that. Today, we have a special guest on for our Learn for Two interview series. This is episode number 5 of that series. Today, we have the founder and CEO of IdealEstate here, Brody Saunders. Hey, Brody, how are you doing?
Doing well. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing great, thank you. Hey, so I kind of want to get into a little bit. We'll talk about IdealEstate, of course. I found it a few months back, and actually a little bit further beyond that, but really started getting into it a few months back and have loved it ever since. But before that, can you just give us a little brief idea about kind of your background and what brought you to this point?
Oh, of course, man. So I founded the company because I was buying a home and selling a home at the same time. And there were basically two things that I went through, and every realtor and everyone else in the industry goes through the same thing, which is one, everyone hates Zillow. And two, you realize that all of the people that make buying, selling, owning a home a great experience come from a realtor. So lenders, appraisers, inspectors, the whole 9 yards. That network starts with the agent. And so if you have a great agent, you're going to have a great experience. And trying to keep the human element in the entire process, I was like, okay, well, could you create something that was totally realtor friendly and then bring in all these other pros? And so that's really the genesis of the whole concept. But where it's evolved to is we're really like a LinkedIn now for all real estate pros. And it's actually a great thing for consumers as well, because they can go on our site, look at homes. We have a great interface, as you know, and they don't get 50 phone calls just because they looked at homes. And people in my generation, they don't want to go on a site and throw their phone number out because they know they're going to get 50 calls, right? So we're not in the phone book generation anymore, and people want to have a relationship, not a cold call, and that goes both ways.
Yeah. So basically, it was created out of like your own frustration of you wanting to go look at a home on a site that maybe didn't make you necessarily register with a particular agent or brokerage, and you just wanted to look at homes on your own a little bit, and you found yourself just bombarded by phone calls because your information was being sold all over.
Oh, all the time. And you're on a site and you want to look at something and you can't look at it unless you give the info, and no one wants to do that anymore.
Yeah.
So the world's changed, and everyone's at home now looking at homes, and they want somewhere safe they can be, as safe as they are at home. They want to be online. So it's a great way to share homes. We modeled all of our sharing stuff after Pinterest. So it's a great way to create a collection of homes, as you know, and to be able to share with your clients, but also for your clients to share with others. And that's, one of the biggest parts of buying or selling a home. It's social. You're telling your friends, family, everyone knows. And to make that an experience rather than, trying to do something on an interface like a Zillow or whatever.
Yeah. And one thing that you mentioned about, not wanting to give your info, a lot of times people give bad info just so they can get in. And when you do, because I'll raise my hand, I've done it before. I used to buy leads, and what would happen would be I would get a lead that would come in, and it would be either the wrong number, or I'd call them and they'd be like, I already have an agent. Or
they'd be pissed that you're calling in the first place, right? I mean,
yeah, for sure. Or if they even answered, and then on top of that, they wouldn't know what site they were on, what I was calling from, because they aren't. Because
no one can remember, right?
Yeah.
I browse for homes anywhere. There's no brand loyalty in Zillow, Realtor.com, Trulia, whatever it is. People just want to look at homes. But when you come to IdealEstate, the difference is you can look at homes and not get 50 calls. And so there is brand loyalty here. And it goes to the realtor first, but also to their clients, which is very important because we provide a nationwide MLS, and that's a big deal. That costs a lot of money for a lot of people to have access to their own, or maybe 2 or 3, but there's a lot of business to be done nationwide. And the reason the MLS was created was to help agents help other agents sell homes, period. And so if you can do that on a nationwide scale, and you've seen this, someone from Florida might reach out to you, or someone might reach out to you from California to Vegas, as you've seen. That's a great opportunity, and that's a qualified person reaching out, better than a consumer lead that you maybe are paying $400 or $500 or $1,000 a month for.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so, you know, one thing I talk to agents about all the time is, you're talking about making money and doing business and having relationships. So it's all about ROI. So if you can use our service and get a 10x ROI that you don't have to track. So Zillow, yeah, you can get a 10x ROI if you're spending $1,000 a month. But what if there's a downturn?
Yeah.
What do you
do? Yeah, and in some markets, I mean, people are spending tens of thousands of dollars to hold their market share of Zillow.
No, I'm not happy with it. I've never met someone that said, "Hey, I love my lead gen platform. I love it." It's always a war. Like, I'm trying to manage it, and I do well by it, kind of, if I can.
Yeah. So from an agent standpoint, wanting to use the platform, because obviously we've talked a little bit about the consumer and being, not, I don't want to say anonymous, but being able to to search without being bombarded by a bunch of people. There are a bunch of agents. From the agent standpoint, from like, how is it intended for agents to use to communicate with other agents?
Well, that's the biggest part, is agents have been taught to not talk to other agents. And you know this. But when agents work together, I mean, you have to work all the time. I mean, every time you do a deal, you're dealing with another agent.
Yeah.
So wouldn't it be better to know what they're all about before you do something with them?
Yeah.
So connecting with agents in other locations in particular, that's a big deal. And it's never really been done on this scale. And, you know, we have 800,000 agents on the site, and to have a dialogue, to get to know someone. Agents are also consumers. So, you know, being able to talk to someone, say, what do you need? How can I help you in the hard times? I mean, that's a huge deal. And we're seeing that happen more and more now, you know, with this virus stuff. I mean, it's a big deal.
Yeah. And, you know, you and I did a video a few weeks back,
kind
of explaining to the IdealEstate users on how to use it, and the benefits of it. And what's funny is, like you say, certain things, agents are conditioned certain ways. And one of them, like you said, is not to really talk to other agents until you're going to deal with them. You know, unless they're in your office, like the collaborate, like the inner office collaboration, it doesn't exist much right now. I've seen it a lot more, because I've been talking to a lot more agents recently. They've been more receptive to certain things that I'm not just pitching a brokerage or pitching something. It's a true collaboration.
Yeah, and they have to now, because you can't just pass someone in the halls, but you might need their info on something, so you have to call them. So it's the first time that you can't just, you know, lean over and just say, hey, what do you think about this or that? It's a different time, and I think it's a great time for people to think about how they can do work at home and to be able to do their job at home. And you know, I think the value of an agent is actually incredible. And a lot of people like Zillow and everyone else, they try to minimize the value of the agent. Agents bring everyone else to the table, for one, and they're the ones at your house on a Saturday at 10 o'clock at night, taking photos of your house when you're at dinner with a photographer, marketing, putting their own money up. You can't really say that, you know, it's a consumer-based business where you can just do that yourself. I mean, I'm sure there's some people that can or whatever, but agents have a lot of value. And one of the biggest values they bring, as we've talked about, is the network they bring to the table.
Yeah. Yeah. And this gives you the opportunity to expand that network exponentially, instead of just finding somebody that you're just locally. And what I've noticed on here on IdealEstate is that I do get a lot of, I was going to say, after that video that we recorded, I've got a lot of people, and I was saying the conditioning that we have not wanting to talk to people. One of them also is, I pay for something, I need instant gratification, like right now, I need it now. And I've been getting people reaching out to me because they've seen that video and they say, hey, Brandon, what's your return? Like how many leads are you getting? How many is this? How many is that? And it's like, how many should I expect per month? And really there it is. I mean, I guess your return on investment, I guess you can change it to what you want. It's not necessarily just financial. It is, you're putting in work, to make relationships. And that's what this goal is to create a relationship. And if you're going to want to get
you can't really put a price on, the effort you put in. And people that want to, recruit someone or sell a home and they're not going to build a relationship, I mean, they're going to lose. There's no question about it. If they can't have a conversation first, and that's something we've talked about, we talk about it all the time, ask about someone else. How are they doing? How are they, what is their struggle with selling their home, buying their home, etc.? Are they okay? Mm-hmm. They're going to respond much better than saying, hey, quit your job, join, my firm, or, hey, I saw you viewed my listing. Like, do you have a bag of money?
Yeah.
That doesn't happen. And that filters down to everyone else. And so if you have a better process to be able to say, hey, you know what? Like, let's build a relationship. Let's get to know our customer. Let's get to build a relationship so that they become a repeat customer. Because people buy and sell homes 4 times in their life. And that's a lot of money if you add it up. Mm-hmm. That's a lot. But if they refer you to their friends, you get 4 referrals. I mean, 16x. I mean, that's great. So it really is a relationship-based business, and people treat it differently than it should be. And if everyone said, hey, I want to get to know you and be friends first, and then business partners next, people would close more deals.
Yeah, absolutely. And just as we were talking earlier, I had I woke up last week to a message. You have a message from this person, and she basically just said, hey, Brandon, I have a client moving here to my market. They need to sell their home in Las Vegas. Can I introduce you?
Yeah.
And that was a result of putting myself out there and letting people get to know me on IdealEstate, and also creating a relationship through the messages that we have, instead of being, hey, do you have referrals for me? Which I get all the time. And so I do think that's kind of funny. Like when you see that, I like to say it's playing the long game. Like you're playing a long game. You're creating a relationship that you can send a referral. Because most of the time as agents, you find somebody that's moving to your market, somebody who's moved to Vegas, and they're from, I don't know, Podunk, Iowa, somewhere out there. I've never even heard of it before. And our sales training is to go, oh, ding, 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 I can get a referral fee off that. So you go, oh, I know a person there, when you don't. So then you got to go find that person. But IdealEstate gives you the opportunity to start cultivating these relationships now. So when somebody is moving from somewhere, you have a chance to already know someone in that market.
Places you might not think about. And, I talk about this again in terms of you're in business to make money, right? So if you make money because you got a consumer lead or someone sent you a referral, you're making money. So why do you care? If there's money in the door and you didn't spend a ton of money to get it, that's good news. Yeah. On the other part of what you're saying, you have all these relationships that are created, and, real estate's almost like dating from that standpoint. So playing the long game, as you talked about.
Yeah.
So the long game is to marriage. I mean, that's a good relationship, okay? And there's many things that happen in between where you can make money in real estate. That's the analogy. But, the marriage part is where they start sending you referrals and everything else starts coming in. And that's free money. And so you want to work on that. Buying leads, that's a zero-sum game.
Yeah, and it's really tiring as well too. I mean the conversion rate is like 2 or 3%.
It's the lowest of any industry in the world, and it's the most expensive, by the way.
Wow, that is interesting.
Yeah, it's very crazy. So the cost per lead in real estate is the most expensive and the lowest converting. You know why? It's relationship based. So you can't, get a lead and be like cold calling someone saying, "Hey, like let me be the one that shepherds you through the most important decision of your life."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Doesn't happen.
That is
So that's
crazy.
why, if you look at every single agent's, sort of signature in their emails,
Mm-hmm.
I'm never too busy for your referrals. They don't say I'm never too busy for your leads,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's
So,
true.
I mean,
Yeah, I've
when
never
you
thought of that
look
before.
at that, doesn't make sense. I mean, it's relationship based, and that's really what we're doing. And that's why I think, especially in this climate, there's a better aspect to how we restructure how the whole industry works.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it works really well for virtual companies because we're going to have to work from home, do other things. This is not going to be the last time this happens.
Mm-hmm.
So everything you can do to work from home will be better.
Yeah, I mean, since I had already been kind of doing that anyways, my day-to-day schedule hasn't changed much, other than now the whole family is at home with me. But I'm still doing, I'm on Ideal Estate going through, and when I connect with somebody, I send a message to them, based on the message. And I'm not saying this to be arrogant by any means, but based on the messaging that I get back to me, not even back to me, but initiating to me.
Sure.
Um, I'm The way I'm using Ideal Estate and will continue to use it. It's like I'm not playing the same game, and I believe it's a complete unfair advantage that I have, because it's just about taking the time and understanding that relationship aspect of it, instead of throw everything against the wall and see what sticks.
You don't want to do that. And you've tried a bunch of different things. And, LinkedIn, like I told you this, an agent reached out to me on LinkedIn, didn't look at my profile, just sent me like a message, just cold, saying, "Hey, like quit your job." He doesn't even know what I do.
Yeah. Yeah. It is funny because it's you try to get and I kind of like what you've done as well, is you've made it so it can't be, I don't know, I want to say bastardized or whatever, where it just can't become such a um it's becoming more exclusive, I guess I would say, where you're having the conversation, as opposed to just being, oh, hit one button and everything is done for you, and making it
Yeah.
a spot where people are just being beat over the head, with the same comment from every single person. So I do like that you're kind of.
That's why we've limited the recruiting side of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I completely agree with your move on that, and I think it's been very helpful to
So
the
what,
site as
what are
well.
your thoughts on, short term? I mean, they're going to open up Utah, they're saying by the end of the month. I mean, I think we could rocket back into, good economy in the next couple of months. I mean, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree as well. I think there's a lot of differing. Everyone, it's tough to tell, because I hear the same story, or I see two different stories about. There was Dr. Fauci the other day on the
Yeah.
same page. There was two stories. One said that we'd be back to going to watching sporting events in the summer, and then the next one said we should never shake hands again. And I'm going, what is happening? Then I just saw something else that said like 2022, and like every story, every media story is just like, either we're almost out of it or the sky is falling. As soon as we can get some trust and some unity there, I think that we'll be okay.
Yeah, I mean, something in between Chicken Little and then obviously the Eternal Optimist.
Yeah.
But I think it will be good actually for real estate to change, because here's the whole thing. If you have more agents that are able to work from home and serve their client, that's a huge opportunity.
Oh
They
yeah,
can
I
sit at
definitely think.
home and they don't need to do the legwork. So take all of the work out of real estate,
Mhm.
photos, staying there at 10 o'clock at night, all these other things. Like, could that transform real estate? Absolutely.
Oh yeah, for how real estate is done, absolutely. I think there will be a massive change. And one of the things I heard someone tell me, I don't know, about a year ago, they were telling me about how technology wise, real estate is one of like the latest adopters,
Yeah.
to technology, and that we're about 10 years behind as agents and how we're using.
Without question.
Yeah.
But, you know, and I work with realtors every day, as you know.
Yeah.
And the first thing they bring up is, I'm not tech savvy.
Hmm.
But what if there was an easy way for them to say, okay, I'm not going to come meet you. You don't need to put a lock on the house that someone can come unlock.
Hmm.
I'm going to walk you through the house and explain it, and I'm going to handle everything else that happens from there on out.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think that there is an aspect of what was funny to me. What was this about last year? I think it was, where they were talking about giving Amazon delivery drivers their like a basically it was a door that was provided by Amazon. It was a
Yeah.
door and a camera, or not a door, like a lock, a handle. And
No, they bought Ring.
oh, is that what it was?
Yeah.
But so when that first came out and they said, hey, they're going to want delivery drivers to do this, I was having this conversation with this woman at a title company, and she's like, that's crazy. It'll never happen. And I said, you're already doing it. You're letting real estate agents come in and show your home already. Why would this be any different? Now, you know, the guy that's going to be dropping off, you already know that he's going there. But she was like, oh, that won't happen. And that's where I could see why we are so behind in tech, is that mentality.
They're going to be way above it. And the reality is relationships. That's the whole thing.
No.
That's the whole industry boiled down into one thing: relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And that comes down to recruiting. That comes down to buying a home, picking an agent, selling your home. Everything else boils down to a relationship. And that's not replaceable by technology. It can be enhanced by technology, but you cannot take out the human element anywhere in this process.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I like the fact that you are giving, you know, both agents and consumers the opportunity to learn about somebody before, before like making a decision. And the way, I mean, there's reviews on the site. So, I mean, I'm not going to take anything away from that, but you know, on Zillow, one of their things when I first started, one of the things, and I did this, and I feel terrible from it, but it was like, go ask your friends and family for reviews.
Yeah.
Maybe you've never even done business with them before, and you're going and asking for reviews. So when you get those reviews,
Brandon's a great guy.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So when you're looking at reviews and things like that, and the same thing with what's the Yelp, that one as well. And I started a podcast years ago to interview local business owners and entrepreneurs, so people could really know who they were, as opposed to looking at, you know, you get people that are giving something away if you give us a positive Yelp review. If you pay Yelp, they'll remove the negative review or bury the negative reviews. All that stuff that can be so manipulated. It's tough. So you go onto some of these sites.
The founder of Zillow was also the founder of Glassdoor and Expedia. And they made all of their money by creating business accounts for people and getting them bad reviews. And then they made them pay to get good reviews.
Whoa, interesting. Yeah. So, I mean, it's tough. I mean, I interviewed a coffee shop one time, and every time I come out of there, I come out smelling, they're a roasting company. Every time I come out, I smell like roasted coffee beans.
Like you went to Benihana's or something.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but one of their reviews, their negative reviews, was, it doesn't even smell like coffee in here. It was like, and it was from one of their competitors that came in and gave a review like that. And I'm going, how do you like, and it's tough because you're in a spot as someone to defend that review. Then you look petty and like you're blaming somebody else. So sorry to get all onto this review aspect of it, but those are the kind of things that I see with reviews, and why I feel that this way, having a way to interact with people, agents and consumers together, being able to do that gives them an advantage as well when they are choosing an agent.
Oh, for sure. And the other part is agents choose other agents to work with. That's something that's never been talked about.
Yeah.
So, you know, if I'm in Utah, right, I'm in Park City, and I want to attract people from Beverly Hills, what do? Buy expensive advertising? You can, or you can connect with people, build a relationship, and send them there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of places where people move from other places to build relationships.
Mhm. Yeah.
And, that's what we're really talking about. Like, if you boil down Ideal Estate into one thing, it's about building relationships.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, and one thing I just want to touch on as well is as we're building relationships, you said that you're bringing all consumers and real estate, because it's not just real estate agents and consumers that are on there. You have title
Wow.
reps, you have mortgage companies, you have lenders, whatever.
Hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, yeah. And so what I wanted to say on that is that when I was trying to build my own network, when I found you, I found Ideal Estate after spending several thousands of dollars and countless hours trying to create my own group of
Yeah.
Real estate professionals through LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And then when I came across you, it was funny. I was a little arrogant because I was messaging you and you're like, well, we're kind of like the LinkedIn of real estate. And I'm like, oh,
I remember our first conversation. I was in San Diego, and
yeah.
I was like, hey, I'm not going to pitch you on this, but here's the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my thought was like, I've been working on LinkedIn, for the last year and a half, like building what I've been building, and, nothing's going to change my mind. I was like that meme or that guy sitting at the table, like, change my mind. I know LinkedIn changed my mind. And so finally I went and looked at it, and I was like, this is what I didn't know. I was trying to build something like this, and it was better than what I ever could have imagined what I was trying to build. And so that's why, I mean, I have a huge respect for and for the work that you've done to put this thing together. And I'm very happy to be able to be a part of it.
No, I mean, I respect our partnership very much. And this is something really great. I mean, you're teaching people how to use many different things, which is something that I've been most excited about, which is find me on Ideal Estate. That's me. But you've created so many different products that, other people can use in this atmosphere in particular.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. And everyone needs to adapt and change how they look at how they're going to do real estate in the future.
Mm-hmm.
They need to get 5, home staging companies that they work with everywhere. Everything else, I mean, they need to put the personality in, but have the tech to support it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And that's one thing. I'll do a shameless plug for what you were talking about, creating things. As you and I have talked about, we've seen people not really use Ideal Estate to its full potential. So what I created just a group, it is on Facebook, but it's a group together where it's called Ideal Estate Growth Hacks. And basically it is a group where I invite people to come join us, and we share with each other on how to use Ideal Estate in the most, some of the tips and tricks that we use and strategies to grow and connect with others.
Are we ready to announce the news portal?
If you're ready, I actually have this written down. Are you if you have any upcoming ideas?
No, we have a bigger audience than Inman or anyone else. Bigger than almost the Wall Street Journal. So I'd like to announce we're doing something different for everyone who works in real estate in terms of news. And great people like you can be made available to everyone in the industry and consumers at a very, very sort of integrated level where they don't have to spend the money they do on Inman.
That's awesome. That's awesome. When are you thinking about having that up and running?
I think Tuesday next week.
Tuesday? Awesome. I'm definitely looking forward to that. I know that we've talked about a couple things. I respect how available you are for us, for me. I mean, I text you and be like, hey, what about this? Just random thought of what we're doing, and being able, for you to be so receptive to someone who I'm not a tech guru. I'm a proud alumni of YouTube University. I'll go and learn whatever I can through YouTube and share with others, what I've learned. But for you to be receptive when I say, hey, what about this? And you won't ever tell me, no, we're not going to do that. You go, hey, let me look into it. and then maybe you'll try it and implement, or maybe you'll try it and be like, you know what, it didn't work out.
Yeah.
And I'm very, like I said, very honored to be able to be in that position to have that collaboration.
It's something for everyone else. And I'm excited that you're on the ground level. But it's something for everyone else, which is I want to be available for all of our folks. Because everyone else, they sign them up for a contract or whatever, they leave them hanging. They don't care about their personal struggle, anything else. And I think this is true for every person I work with. And they would say this. We care about your well-being and your livelihood. And so we're going to do something different than the Zillows of the world. And I'm excited about that. I mean, it's fun. It's fun to do.
And to that point, I've talked to countless people that I've said, well, you know, I'm talking to the CEO and founder, and they're like, oh, Brody, yeah, I talk to him all the time. And I'm like, okay, all right. Well, so and the first couple of times I was like, oh, well, I kind of got an in. And then they're like, you know, no, I talk to him all the time too. And I was like, oh, okay. So yes, you are available.
I don't mean it's not an in. But I remember our first conversation. I told you this. This will not be our last. I mean, you called me as skeptical as anyone I've ever talked to.
Yeah,
and I
absolutely.
remember the conversation. Like I was walking around. I was in San Diego actually, and I was like, okay, like we're talking, and you're with EXP. We're talking about everything else, all these different things. And I was like, we won't let you down.
Yeah, and you haven't. And then I remember I messaged on the platform a question that I had, and after our first conversation, you said, just call or text me. Here's my personal number. Call or text me. And then I messaged you, and the first thing you said when you called, you said, hey, you don't message on the platform. Like, you have my number. I told you to call me. I was like, oh, okay. And you go, I said, well, do you have a minute? And you go, yeah, I'm just in between runs. You were out skiing and you came off the mountain, and you were grabbing a bite to eat, and you made a call. So, I mean, that type of stuff, that's relationship. That's something, that's a business relationship that maybe is not it's just an example of that, CEO and founder that you're extending to the relationship of your clients.
Yeah. And I didn't know who you were and anything else about it. I mean, it's much better. I mean, obviously love you, and the viewers should love you as well, because like we're talking about all kinds of stuff that really helps them build their business, period. And so, if you get more agents into the relationship-based stuff, whether it's us or anything else, it's a relationship-based business. You have to shake someone's hand. You can't do that right now, but you have to do it some way.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And that's one thing that I've really understood more lately, is that there are a lot of agents are looking at their business. It's an actual business. They're looking at their business with an employee mindset instead of a business owner or an entrepreneur mindset, that's where you go into the relationships. And so I say the employee mindset versus the business owner mindset is the same as the short game versus the long game. And if you're going to want to stay in the long game, you're going to have to build relationships, and this is a great way to start building those relationships.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely. So is there anything else you want to share?
I don't think anything else. I mean, I think the new stuff coming out will be huge. We're going to draw prices for everyone across the board. And we just want to make sure people can promote their business in these trying times. We're going to send out free ads to everybody. So anyone seeing this, they're going to get free ads. So it's going to be great, but it's going to recover fast.
Awesome. Awesome. That's great. Is there a way that anybody can get in contact with you if they have any questions for you about IdealEstate?
Let's give them my number.
All right, go for it.
801-550-3424. If you want to call me about this, call me directly.
Awesome.
Happy to talk to you.
Brody, well, thank you so much for giving out that information. And this definitely won't be our last conversation. We'll once as we continue to roll things out, want to get back on here and let people know what they actually have access to and how it's to be used. So
sounds good, my friend.
all right, awesome. Thanks, Brody.
Talk to you soon.